Hey everyone, as promised, Viv Clemens here, and I'm going to be walking you through creating like a floral design using Akzentz Gel Luxio as well as Akzentz Gel Play Paints. So I'm going to be using Moyra in the stamping stuff, and then I'm going to show you how to colour in a flower. So I'm using Pure as my base. This is a great French white, but I also love it as just a white. That is brilliant because it goes on really, really nice, as you can see. And it doesn't like, so it's not as stark as Polar. It's slightly softer, but applies beautifully and is still fairly bright. So I'm just going to do that one coat, pop that in, cure it for 30 seconds in the hybrid lamp. Okay, so that's cured, and now I'm just going to apply a coat of matte on over the entire nail because I'm going to stamp over the matte finish. And I've got one skew of hair there that I need to cut off, so ignore that little stray. So I just make sure I get good coverage and cure for 30 seconds. Okay, so if I'm cleansing the tacky layer off, when I'm about to stamp, I'll always use acetone. And the reason for that is I just want to make sure I have a good stamping surface. And just using acetone means that it's pretty much ready for stamping. Okay, as you know, it's super important not to mix up acetone with a prep product, because if you do, you're going to get a residue and it won't stamp properly. So for this design, I'm going to use stamping plate, what is it? 75, which is Norka's Garden. Don't know if you can see that with the reflection. But anyway, I'm going to stamp, sorry, this design. I'm inhaling acetone. All right. I'm using stamping polish number 6 in the Moyra stamping polish black. Sorry. Okay. And I've got my roller and I'm using the double-ended stamper. So I'll just give that a clean. As you can see, I just tested it to make sure that it picked up nicely. So I'll just make sure my stamper's clean and primed, ready to go. And get everything out my way. All right. So apply my black polish, scrape it across, pick up my design, check it, and then place it. Okay. So see how you got these little, taggy bits? You can just flatten them down. I'm just going to get that little bit off there. Okay. Keeps coming back. All right. Now, if you've got a little bit there and you want to get rid of it, just grab a wipe and a little bit of acetone and just wipe it off. Super easy. Okay. Clean my stamper. Clean my plate. And clean my scraper, sorry, and this is my stamper. Clean my stamper. Okay. So now I'm ready to basically fill in this design with some colour. Okay, so while I was cleaning up, I made an executive decision. Where I've placed the design, I've kind of got a little bit too much of a gap here. So what I want to do is just add in an extra leaf. So I've removed the other end, sorry. So I took out the rubber and I've taken off the cover so that I can see through, which I should have done on the other side and then I would have been able to place it. But anyway, all good, we can add to it. So to do this, I'm just going to grab some polish, scrape it across, pick up my leaf and strategically place it. And that is much better. So easy to do. So you can always add to it. And then once you're done, just make sure you put your stamper back together. The pressure pop the other side out. All right. And we're ready to go with colouring in this design. Okay, so at this point, you can either go in and start painting straight away, or you can top coat it again. I'm going to top coat it again so that if I make a mistake or if I don't like the colour I've used or whatever the case may be, I can actually wipe it off and start again without removing my stamping from behind, you know, from underneath. So I'm just using matte on again. Make sure I've got really good coverage, because when I wipe this nail, I don't want to wipe off any of my design. I just got a little dot there. I'll just wipe that off. Okay. All right, and I'll pop that in and cure it. Now, while that's curing, I've chosen my colours. So I'm going to put a little dollop on each colour, on my mat. But I might actually clean my mat first. Okay. All right, so I have some red gel play. I only need a tiny little bit. You do not need a lot of product. Let me find a dry spot. All right, so I'll pop that there. And I'm going to use a bit of blue. And some green. It's for the leaves. And I've got my favorite titanium white. Okay, so that is all you need. Look at the size pot. It'll take you forever to finish that based on how much I'm using here. So you don't need a lot of paint. Now our top coat has cured. So with some prep and white, I'm going to take off the tacky layer. And we're ready to go. Okay, now for this, I'm using my absolute favorite brush. This is the number 6. It's a design brush by Akzentz. And I use this for absolutely everything I do when it comes to art. I've always got it close at hand. It is brilliant. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to make sure my brush is dry for starters. So I like to put like a gel wipe on my mat, and then on one corner wet it and then leave it dry here so that I can dry my brush before picking up more paint. Okay, so I want to create like a deeper color in the middle, and then the blue and a lighter blue on the outer edge. So I'm going to grab some blue first, and I'm just going to tap that in around the center of the flower or flowers. So it's just simply tapping, super easy. Make sure you do not load a lot of paint. It's better to use less than more, because you can always go back and add, but taking away is a little bit more difficult. So I'm just kind of blending that out, spreading it out a little, but you can still see the edge of the flower is white. I'm going to dry my brush and then come back and pick up some red. And with the red, I'm just going to tap that into the center, which is going to give me like a purple color. And I'm just going to spread that out a little so that it's blending into the blue a touch. I want a little bit more just to deepen that center area. I'm just making sure it's blended, and do the same on this one. So as you can see, it's super easy. If I put too much, which I did, I'm just going to go to the next one, use the excess paint that I've picked up, blend this one out, and then I'll go back once I've gotten rid of most of the paint that was on my brush, and do the same here. So it's looking great already, and that was super quick and easy. Okay, just clean your brush, because I'm going to grab some green to do our leaves. I just dried my brush off, and I'm just grabbing the paint just on the very tip of the brush. So I'm going to just pat that into each of the leaves all the way, like, you know, all over the leaf. Again, be very careful with how much you pick up. You just want a tiny bit. Now, I want to make, I've done that, the leaves are green. I want to make the edges, sorry, someone just walked past the window. Give me a sec. Okay, now I'm going to grab some blue, and I'm going to come in at the base of each of the leaves and add in a little bit of blue. So I'm just going to tap that in where the leaf meets the flower. I've accidentally added too much there, but that's okay, because I'll just use that and move it around. And turn this around. Okay. Now, if you want to go back and add just that little bit more depth, clean that off, or dry it off, sorry. And then you can actually grab a little bit of red and just add that in. And then blend it. So it's kind of like just shadowing in the deeper areas. The areas that are sort of tucked underneath a petal. So if I turn this around so you can see it better. So I'm just doing it in that section there. Just that little bit at the base of each of the leaves. And you can see it's like come alive now. All right, now I'm going to clean my brush, and I'm going to pop this in and cure it for 30 seconds because we're just going to add a little bit of white highlight and we're pretty much done. Okay, so my brush is clean. I'm going to grab some white, and I'm just going to tap some white into the edges, the outer edges of the leaves. Just to give it a little bit of highlight. And I'm going to do the same with the flower. Just stuck my finger in the paint. It's a good trick. So you don't need a lot. Just gives it that extra little bit of depth. Even though we've kind of left a little bit of white up there anyway, just gives it that little bit more. So I'm just applying the paint and then I'll go back and just blend it so that it's nice and smooth. So there we go. Now I'm switching to the Spark brush by Ignyte, and I'm just going to grab a little bit of white, and I want to just really carefully add in some different sized dots into the middle of each of the flowers and just on the outer edge. So you don't want them all the same size. You just want to randomly add them in, but yeah, just change the size of them so they're not all, you know, the same size. Looks nicer. You can spread them out a little onto the petals. Not too much, but yeah. And there you go. So that's finished. Now, I just want to take that one off. I don't like that one or that one. Okay. Now, with this, you can either, obviously we're going to cure it for 30 seconds, but it can be finished either in a high shine or a matte finish. That is totally optional. So I'm going to finish this off in a matte finish and show you the result. So it's been cured. I'm applying my matte on. Making sure I've got really good coverage. It's really important that you top coat well, because like I said, if you miss a little bit and you clean it off with your gel cleanser, you're going to remove some of your colour. Okay, and for now, I'm going to remove the tacky layer or dispersion layer and show you the finished result. So there you go. Just let it dry. How cute is that? So you don't need to be an artist and, you know, try and create these beautiful flowers. It's super easy to do with a little bit of stamping and a little bit of colour. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye for now.